Alright, we're going to finish our last little character here that we're going to do. That will give us 9 characters for our police lineup. Okay. Little 3-inch figure, 2 3/4, 3-inch. Let's go ahead and separate the got a little stain on that wood right there. No big deal. A lot of times when I keep my wood out in the garage and stuff, and we're going to have him holding a little sign that says, "It's not me." We'll go for a little humor in this police lineup. Police lineups have always fascinated me. I've always wanted to be in one. I don't mean to commit a crime and be in one, but I mean, you know, being an extra in it or something. Usually they'll have 6 or 7, 8 guys that are not guilty with one guy that is, or one guy they suspect is guilty, and they'll have the person standing there. But all right, we're just carving along here, getting a shape to our face and everything like that. And what we're going to do, I brought the little hand out this way, so we're going to do this little number across there like that. Have one of his hands sticking out with a little sign, and the other one at his side like that. So I'll go ahead and cut the these are all done out of 3/4 inch basswood. And like I said, unless you're an experienced carver, I would not start with this kind of basswood. This is small. These are small figures. The knife is very close to your hand, so I would rather that you get a more experienced with a knife than to just try to do something that I'm teaching a young boy to carve now, and I don't give him any small projects like this. He was 15, I think, is what he is. That's young to me. So I give him larger projects to do. He's doing very well. People, when they see me carve or see me teaching carving or anything like that, the first thing they say, I just couldn't do that. I don't have the patience to do that. And if you carve very long, you know people say that when they do. And when I begin to explain to them that there's really only three moves that I make with a carving knife, then it becomes a little bit more, not necessarily easy, but I mean it becomes a little more, well, maybe I can do this or whatever it is. And sorry. You know, this is the stop or paring cut. I always call it the paring cut because it's like when you cut use a paring knife to cut a. That's the paring cut. Of course, this is the push cut, and then there's the V cut that you make and all that stuff. And when people see that, that doesn't mean that, but it helps them a little bit to explain to them that, I'm only using, if you watch my hands, I'm only using 3 different types of cuts. And mostly I use 95% of what I carve with is a knife. Now, a lot of people carve with gouges and B-tools and things like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just like to carve with a knife. So, a lot of people write me thinking I'm some kind of a Superman. And they ask for requests sometimes that are, all right, we're going to go back behind the thing here. His arms, and this back here. A lot of people write me and ask, kind of think I'm kind of a Superman. And, I can just do anything. Well, that's just not true. Especially younger people and stuff. And, can you carve and a lot of the young people, one of their biggest requests is to carve something that's, people are really into this fantasy stuff like, can you carve what's all this, not Harry Potter, but the other guy that makes the fantasy movies. Oh, brother. Lord of the Rings. There it is. I'm sorry. Yeah, they like you to carve a bunch of those characters and stuff. I don't really get into fantasy carving and all that stuff. I mean, a lot of people do. I like to keep it. And you got to also understand, this is a teaching tool, and most people, maybe I don't know. I'm not really crazy about fantasy type carving, and that's one of the things I want to do. I want to carve things I want to do. And okay, now as we look at this, of course this is way too big. We're going to bring that way down and cut some of that off. But I like to use humor in my carvings. And these figures are just basically perfect for doing scenes, but doing them with you don't have to you can imagine 12-inch figures. You do 9 12-inch figures in a scene, and I mean that scene's got to be big. It really does. It's got to be pretty large. So this way I can make a small scene with half the time, and enjoy myself. And there's a lot of carvers that are a lot better than I am. But always remember, I do this for fun. And I hope you do too. I've talked to a lot of professional carvers who carve for a living. And it's a tough life, folks. I'm gonna tell you something. It's not an easy life. It's what people love to do, but I'm just saying it's hard to make a lot of money doing it unless you are selling to collectors and stuff. And if you just have fun with it, that's the most important thing. And that's what I want you to do. Have fun with your carvings. And enjoy yourself. And make some for friends and family and stuff like that. And I tell you what, if you can learn to carve, you can really we'll do the hands here, showing how if you love to carve, you can really you cut out on some Christmas presents. I mean, you know, get carving something for people for Christmas, because wood carving is a treasure to a lot of people, because it's something you can't just go buy off the shelf. It's something that's handmade, and people really like something that is made directly for them or whatever. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make my hand here. And I've given a lot of carvings out, and you know, when you make people happy by giving them something you've done, well, that's the joy of carving. I want to cut this here and cut that there. Okay, I think my time is about up. We'll come back and continue with this figure. And look at that, see? See that? All right, there's our little figure. Look at him. All right, we're going to come back. Oh, excuse me.